Hey kids, it's Mrs. Compton, and today we are going to do a little work with perimeter. Now, kids all the time get area and perimeter mixed up. So let's think about this. The word perimeter is written right here. You might notice that there is the little word rim inside of this word. See that? So I want you to imagine something that has a rim that you know about. I'm going to let you think about that for a second. What do you know that has a rim? My first thought was basketball. So do we have any Lakers fans out there? I bet we do. All right, so if you are a basketball fan or you play basketball or you know anything about basketball, you know that the hoop has a rim. And the rim is the outside of the hoop, right? You might also be into cars, and cars have tires, and inside the tires, like the little metal pieces, are the rims, right? They go around the outside. And then let's see, what else? Maybe you thought about the rim of a cup, the outside part that you put your mouth on to take a drink. All right, so perimeter is actually measuring the distance around the outside of an object. So when your teacher tells you, okay, class, come put your feet on the perimeter of the rug, everybody goes and makes a square or rectangle around the rug, right? Now, if she were to say, kids, come to the meeting area, you would all sit down, right? So the area is the measurement inside. That's what kids get that confused all the time. So give yourself a break if you're getting it confused, but just think about the word rim. Okay. So the perimeter is the distance around an object. So I just had to do this because I have a garden right behind here. And in my garden, I had to fence off my dogs. So I have 2 dogs and they love to get in the garden and bury their bones. Thank you very much. All right, so this is some math I actually really had to do in my real life recently. So I want you to imagine that this is my garden right here. And I want you to think about all the things that you know that you could figure out. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's see if we can get that. Okay, there we go. What do you see? What do you notice? All right, so maybe you noticed that there are measurements, right? So maybe you noticed the length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we'll call this feet since I was going with a garden, right? So, of course, it wouldn't be inches because that'd be like you couldn't plant anything there, right? Okay, so then let's go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the width. So 5 feet. And obviously, if this side's 5 feet and this side must also be 5 feet because it's a rectangle, right? So we know that we've got the length of 7 and the width of 5. Okay, so let's check this out, kids. We're going to think about a rule. So what could we always say to find the perimeter of a rectangular figure or a square even? Okay, so let's think about a rule. Let's see. Maybe you even want to think about how would you find the perimeter of this object? Okay, so let's check this out. We know that this side's also 7 and this side is also 5. So I'm going to write that in. So maybe you would think about it as side plus side plus side plus side. So perimeter, I'm going to write P for perimeter. So in math, when you see P, oftentimes it means perimeter. So P equals side plus side plus side plus side. So I could add up all of the sides, yeah? Okay, so if I added up all of the sides, what would I get? All right, I'm going to guess you probably turned that into a 10, and 7 plus 7 is 14. So you know that we have 24 feet for the perimeter. So that would measure 24 feet around, right? Now, I'm going to guess that some of you noticed you could solve this in a different way. So although perimeter equals side plus side plus side plus side, or the sum of all of the sides, we could say something else too. So I want you to think of another rule that would hold true for this? Okay, so maybe you were thinking about, you had this written down twice. So 2 times, so maybe we could say perimeter could also be 2 times whatever the length is. So we could write 2 times, I'm going to write a fancy L so it doesn't look like a 1. Okay, so 2 times length plus, how many times did we have the width? 2. So plus 2 times the width. Okay, so let's check this out. If we were to do 5 plus 7 plus 5 plus 7, we already said we'd get 24, right? So let's see if we do 2 times the length, what we would get. So let's actually plug in our numbers. 2 times the length was 7. Maybe I'll put a little parenthesis around that so I know that that's kind of grouped together. And this is my 7 written 2 times. Plus, all right, so I've got my 5 written 2 times. 2, put parentheses around that, 2 times 5. Okay, let's solve that. That would be 14, and that would be 10. And we know 14 plus 10 does in fact make 24. So we got the same answer for both methods. Where'd I go? I'm over here. Gotta stop moving that camera around. All right, so this is a rule that always works for finding the perimeter, right? So of course this is a rectangular figure. Sometimes people like to get a little tricky on you, and they only give you a square. So let's check this out. I'm gonna change my color so we can kind of look here. So let's say they give you something super tiny. Let's just do that. And they just write 2 feet. Let's go with that. And they don't give you any other measurement anywhere else. Well, if you don't get any other measurement anywhere else, you can automatically know to yourself that shape is a square. It has to be the same measurement on each side, right? So in that case, it's going to be 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, which we all know is 8. But we could also say 2 times, in this case, it would just be 4 because all of the sides are the same. Okay, so in this case, when you have a square, we did the 2 feet times 4 of the same sides. We got 8 feet. We don't even have to write the little 2 at the top for square because we're not measuring area. Area has little squares inside, right? That's, imagine you were sitting in the meeting area, then you'd have to mark it with a 2. But we are just measuring the distance around with perimeter. So there we go. We got our feet. Or Shelly pointed this one for that. 8 feet around. All right, kids, it's time for you to check in with your teacher. You can do this in your Go Math workbook, or you can just see what she has set for you to do. All right, see you guys next time. Bye.